So your question is, right. So during the feminine flow practice, and for those of you who are not in the program, when women start the claim coaching program, we teach the fundamental practice of feminine embodiment, which you would call a feminine flow. It's actually a practice that I share in my blog or the podcast. So even if you're not in the program, I freely share this practice. And this is not what I came up with, but I've really taken it and made it kind of my own so that it fits the principles of the program and all of that. And feminine embodiment is weaved through the whole program. So your question, Lena, is I talk a lot about the texture and the color during the practice. And your question is, what does that mean concretely and why is that important to identify? Did you want to add anything to that or clarify anything?
No, I'm all ears.
Okay, cool. So what do I mean concretely by texture and color? This is a really good question because it's an important question, because when we start the practice, the feminine flow practice, and for those of you who are not aware of it, it's a simple thing that a lot of the times is very much underestimated. So how it starts is that, you get on your hands and knees and you basically move your body for 5 minutes a day to at least one song. In the program, I provide you a guided flow. So think of it as like a moving meditation where I guide you through, closing your eyes, feeling your body on the floor. Actually, I wanted to start this Q&A with a little drop in. So we're going to drop in after I answer Lena's question, so we can get grounded and arrive. I forgot, I got too excited. So back to your question, Lena, so I guide you into the body, right? And then I ask you, identify any color or texture that you're feeling surrounded this particular thing that you're working with or in your body. And I can tell you that right from the beginning. So you're new, Lena, right? Like how many days have you been doing your practice?
So it's been 2 weeks. I am on my 8th day in a row doing the feminine flow. I definitely increased my time. Like I started with 1 song a day just to like get me into it. And now I'm doing it like 2-3 songs a day, maybe 2-3 times a day. And so, yeah, it's starting to kind of sink in now. And I'm on my 2nd week of the program and I've already just finished module 2 and I'm doing the work on module 2 now.
Great. Okay. So you've done your first module where it was just sensitizing the body, right? Like you do your practice and all that. Now you're getting into the reframing limiting beliefs. So tell me more about during your first week or so of the practice and in module 1. Tell me more about your practice. Like what comes up for you when you're doing it? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? And what are you seeing? Like, tell me more about the practice.
I actually shared that on the group coaching call, the 2nd one I attended. It was a bit intimidating, but I decided that if I feel uncomfortable, I should just do it. So I shared that I went from a place of discomfort for sure, doing something that I wasn't used to doing, like just, moving my body and trying to drop into my body, getting out of my head, which is something that I'm still having a hard time doing. And something that I felt like I had to do because it was part of the homework that you were giving us. That was like my mind frame in the beginning. So I wasn't really seeing or thinking too much. I think I was thinking too much, actually. I wasn't feeling enough, to be more specific. And then as I started to do it every day, and I started to get into a place where I started to look forward to it and started to kind of look at it in a more positive light, more as something that I wanted to do, more than something that I had to do. And I also asked Stephanie, I said, I really like the playlist that you put together and the music, but there's like some music that I'm having a lot of trouble connecting with. So is it bad if I use my own music to do it? And that's why I created like my own feminine flow playlist. When I was doing it to my music, then it was so much easier for me to really get out of my head, drop into my body and really feel things and just like really move to the music and kind of let go. And when I did module 2, because that's when you start to talk about the texture and the color and what does that make you feel when you think about the limiting beliefs, and how do you feel and what is the texture and color when you think about the reframing belief? And that's where I tried to do it. It's been 2 days, but I can't see anything, or I can't feel anything, or I'm having a bit of a trouble with the guidance there. So that's why I just thought I would ask. Like, I feel like that's the next step for me to kind of
Got
dig.
it. And have you had your one-on-one coaching yet with Camilla?
I had my first one, and that was before I did module 2, which I wish I had done after I had done module 2.
Got it. And have you been in a hot seat on a group coaching call where Stephanie would like guide you into the body in terms of working with like a challenge that you have? This is something that we do on our group coaching calls, or not yet?
Oh, I wasn't in the hot seat, but someone was going through a tough time in a relationship. She was seeing someone, and it didn't work out, and she was kind of trying to figure out how she was feeling about it. So we did that for 40 minutes, like with that person. So I've witnessed it. I was there, but it wasn't me.
Right. And so in that, what you've witnessed, you probably heard Stephanie drop that person deeper and deeper into the body and ask to witness and observe whatever's happening in the body and the texture and the color. I mean, I know Steph doesn't really use much of that texture color, but have you seen Steph? Mm-hmm.
Yes, to your point, she did not talk about texture and color, which is why I was caught off guard when I was listening to your guided audio from module 2, and you started talking about that. And I was like, oh, what does that mean?
Got it. Okay. All right. So first of all, great work in terms of making it your own, because we always talk about, every single woman who starts doing her feminine flow practice, your practice is your own, and it's unique and it's individual. Mm-hmm. I'm going to move my body in a certain way. It doesn't mean that there's no right way or wrong way to do this. It's just what your body's feeling, how your body wants to move, and that's what you move. There's no judgment. There's no labels. It's just what your body needs to express at that particular moment in time. And mm-hmm. when you start doing the practice, the more you do it. And that's why we say it's better to do it more often in small increments, like 5 minutes. It's better to do it every day for 5 minutes to one song than to do it once a week for 30 minutes, simply because your body, it's literally like your nervous system is rewiring itself after many, many years. And this is true for most of us, that we live in the head. That's why you're saying what you just shared with me is very, very common. When a woman enters the program, starts doing the practice, she's like, what the hell is this? We had so many women, and I know a lot of you are on the call who've been through this, like, what is this thing that I'm supposed to do, Anna-Rova? What are you asking me? And it's like weird and strange, and okay, but I'm going to do it because, okay, I signed up, I guess this is going to work at some point, I guess. and then you come to it, you do it, and you're in your head and you're not feeling anything, because obviously for many, many years, even decades, most of us have just lived in our head, right? Like, we don't even know what is this and how do I move? But what happens, as you said, and for every single woman, it's a different moment. For some women, it just clicks, honestly, in like the first 3 sessions. For some women, it happens the second or third week. For some women, it takes a really long time. It also depends on your level of resistance and what's happening and all these other things, right? So the texture and the color, so congrats on making it your own and creating your own playlist. That already means that you're listening to your body and you're trying to make this work for yourself. Like, this doesn't work, let me create my own playlist, right? So you are listening to your body, and some things are happening, and you're adjusting your practice to you, which is amazing. And then you started to look forward to it, right? Because the more you do it, the more your body starts to let go and starts to process things. And these are the things that we don't even understand cognitively. And this is something that we won't. We just have to trust. And in this process, what happens is trust develops with your body and with your practice. And you don't need to understand anything. The only thing you will notice is how you feel after your practice. And that, again, this is very common. You'll start to look forward to your practice. And then you realize, oh my God, I can't live without feminine flow anymore. I definitely can't. So to answer your question about texture and color, this is, again, very different and individual. Like, when I started doing my practice, and this is when I started my coaching certification, everything, it took me about 6 months of daily practice until I started to feel some texture or to feel some color or see some things. So if you're not feeling anything or seeing a color or whatever, yeah, Holly's saying one time I felt like cotton during a drop-in. It was weird. Yeah, if you're not seeing or feeling anything yet, that's totally fine. So I wouldn't put any expectations to it or labels, but the more, that's what I'm saying, if you do your practice, that's the foundation. Come on group coaching sessions and do the coaching drop in with the person who's on the hot seat, because we always try, that's why it's group coaching, right? If you put one woman on the hot seat for however long it's going to take, do it with her, close your eyes and then follow the guidance and get into your body and see what's happening. Because in time you will start to notice little things, like when we do drop in the beginning, we sometimes say, feel into your heart. In the beginning I was like, what's that? Where is my heart? How do I feel my heart? And then in time, I remember very distinctively, in like 6 months, I actually saw my heart and I saw like a pink color and I started moving with it. And so it's just a prompt. What I'm saying is that it's just a prompt. And it's just, I guess, like an anchor for you, or a hint, or just a different way to observe. What it does is that it gives you a point of observation, a different point of observation of what's happening in your body. Instead of saying, well, notice how you feel and then welcome it. It also allows you to go deeper. Well, is there any texture to it? Like, how would you describe that sensation to somebody else if somebody would ask you? That's what we're trying to do. And it allows you to create a lot more intimacy with what you're experiencing. So when you're doing your practice, I really invite you to start noticing the subtle, and it's very subtle, it starts very subtle. And the more you practice, the more emergent and apparent it will become. You might start, and the further you go through the program, I ask you to notice an archetype that's coming up, or a role. You hear us talking about roles and how does she feel. So yeah, so that's what I would say to that. Just play with it, explore it, and don't put any labels or expectations on it.
Okay, great.
Well, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I do have another question, but I don't want to take up too much space. I know you said that we have to take space, but I don't want to take up too much space.
That's okay.
And I want to let you do your drop-in. So why don't we do that? And then maybe I can ask my question after.
Okay, cool. Well, let's do the drop-in, and then I'll go through the next, because we've got literally 3 questions, and then we can come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks, Lena. All right, ladies, let's do a drop-in. And for those of you who are not in the program and are like, what the hell is she talking about? This is your chance to actually experience what I'm talking about. So, okay, let's do it. I invite you to join me, and again, release all of your expectations. And this is just going to allow us to get grounded and be present. So whenever you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes and just lean back into your chair or whatever you're sitting or lying on right now, just allowing yourself to feel comfortable. And with your eyes closed, I invite you to notice your breath. So just noticing the inhale and the exhale. Letting go of your shoulders, unclenching your jaw, relaxing your facial muscles, relaxing your brain, and just allowing yourself to be here and to arrive into this chair and into this call. Letting go of everything that happened before, what's going to happen after in your day. Just allowing yourself to sit in silence, witness and notice for the next few minutes. And allow this time for you. So many of us go through our days so fast, so hectic, being in our head and thinking. So this is your time. This is your self-care. So just allow yourself to sit without judgment, without any expectation. Noticing where your body touches the furniture. So just breathing into your back here and your buttocks. If your feet are on the floor, I invite you to really feel your feet on the floor and allowing them to become heavy. And with every exhale, I invite you to feel your body become heavy now. Letting go and surrendering your way down into this support, into this masculine structure of the furniture. Just allowing the furniture to hold you. Imagining as if roots are growing from your feet into the floor and into the earth. Continuing to breathe. You can even open your mouth and start sighing or making some sound. And I also invite you now to start moving your body. So just allowing your body to move in any way that your body wants to move now. In any big or small way. It might look like letting go of your shoulders or stretching or moving your hips or your feet. So just feeling into how does my body want to move? With keeping your eyes closed and continuing to move and breathe. And just noticing what's happening in your body now. Noticing any sensations. I'm not going to ask you about textures or colors because this might be too much in this moment. It's just a drop in. But if something comes up for you, just notice that. And if nothing comes up for you, that's okay. Next, I invite you to put your hand on your heart space or your chest, and maybe another hand on your womb space or your belly or your hips, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And I invite you to breathe into your heart space now or your chest. And notice what's happening in your heart today, right now, in this moment. What's the feeling and the texture in the space for you? So really, what do you feel in your heart space now, in your chest? It might be something heavy or something light. Anything that you're feeling right now with in your heart space, I invite you to just breathe into that and notice. Now again, I invite you to move your body and welcome whatever you're feeling in your body and in your heart, just welcoming it as you move and breathe through it, whether it's negative, positive, neutral, doesn't matter, just welcoming it, moving your body as if to welcome it. Now I invite you to drop this question into your body. What am I ready to let go of? And this could relate to your dynamics with men, or it could relate to something else. So just notice what comes up for you. There's no need to think about it. When you drop this question to your body, what am I ready to let go of? Just trust that the first thing that's coming up for you is the right answer. Then whenever you're ready, gently bring yourself back into the room. Wiggling your toes and your fingers, and then whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. Welcome back, everyone. Would love to hear from you now in the chat box, because Q&A is for questions, but in the chat box, if you can type for me, what did you notice? And what happened for you in this drop-in? And then maybe what are you ready to let go of?